It all started with a minor change on our planet. At first, people noticed the moon had become brighter and a little bigger, but nobody paid attention to this. The moon affected tides all over the world. The water flooded the beaches, but it wasn't a tragedy. A lot of fish came close to the shores. People found giant squid, anglerfish, and other creatures next to the coast, although they usually live in the dark depths. New, stranger things happen every day. Birds no longer fly to the south in winter. They gather in huge groups, flying around cities with no purpose. The moon used to help them navigate in nature, so they can't figure out which way to fly anymore. In the boundless waters of the world's oceans, ship captains notice that compasses are now unstable. The arrow is pointing in different directions since the Earth's magnetic poles have changed. People realize the moon has started to approach Earth for an unknown reason. The moon's gravity affects the gravity of our planet. This entails changes in the climate, the behavior of all living beings, and the magnetic field. Now, it rains in the driest places and gets hot in the coldest lands. It's knocking down ecosystems all over the planet. People living near forests hear wolves howling all the time. The moon drives these animals mad. The Earth's natural satellite is growing in size and lights up the night much brighter. Nothing critical has happened yet. People don't panic because they don't want to believe the end is coming. But then, one day, the moon reaches a critical point. You're walking down the street listening to music, and at that moment, someone pushes you. Okay, maybe that guy is late for work. You keep walking, and a girl coming by hits your shoulder. "I'm sorry," she says, and goes away. You've noticed the fear in her eyes. You look ahead and see people running towards you. You take off your headphones and hear screams and sirens. People leave their cars and run away. Hundreds of seagulls are flying in the sky. You hear a strange noise among all the sounds of chaos. It seems to be water. How is this possible? You're in the city center, a few miles from the shore. But there's no time to think. You notice a huge wave flooding the streets and heading straight to you. You run into a building and go up to the 10th floor. From here, you're watching the water filling the city. The strong stream blows all cars, one-story buildings, and trees off the road. You notice a shark and other fish in the water. People are hiding in houses and on the roofs. The whole city is quickly plunging into a catastrophe. The TV is working in the building where you're hiding. You learn that floods are occurring all over the world. Massive tsunamis cover coastal cities. In some places, waves reach the height of a 30-story building. Many towns have been washed off the face of the Earth. The moon is too close to Earth, and massive floods are just the beginning. The moon flies around Earth and helps to keep our home on its axis. The moon provides climate stability and helps living organisms develop. But now, this balance is broken. The moon is approaching and changing our planet's gravity. Earth can tilt slightly to the side and provoke massive floods around the world. Imagine that you're holding a round glass of water. Tilt it a little. See how the liquid moves from one side to another? The same thing is happening now with the oceans. But the moon is not just approaching us. It's flying around the planet and getting closer with each circle. It causes natural disasters in different locations on Earth all the time. Now the ocean floods one side, and a few hours later, another. So you see all the water going back from the streets to the shore. The oceans may return to the city again by the end of the day. Wait a minute. It seems the end of the day has already come. You notice that the sky has become dark. It's weird, because it's only 3 p.m. The moon changes Earth's rotation speed and makes the day go faster. The moon covers almost the entire sky and brightly illuminates our planet. You see huge lunar craters. It's so close that you can still see it even when the sun shines. In some places, the passing moon obscures the sun. The water is leaving the streets and everyone goes outside. At this moment, an earthquake begins. The road is cracking and the houses are collapsing. There are landslides on the street. Tectonic plates are shifting all over the planet. Imagine two magnetic balls that are approaching each other. So, one ball is the moon, and the second one is Earth's core. What do you think will happen to what's above the core? That's hundreds of thousands of miles of the Earth's crust. And now, it's all moving. Destructive cracks are emerging all over the world. The planet's highest mountains break down and turn into a pile of stones. The seabed cracks and releases magma from the underground depths. Volcanoes wake up and erupt magma. Clouds of volcanic ash cover the sky from the sun and the glowing moon. But the scariest thing is still ahead. A collision is inevitable. The moon flies around the planet like a ball in a round glass with a hole in the center. This force drives clouds all over the planet. Now there's a thunderstorm, but in 5 minutes, it will be snowing. Then the night comes, and it starts raining. Water droplets consist of mud and volcanic ash. It's difficult for people to breathe without gas masks. Atmospheric pressure is constantly changing. Some people experience severe migraines, and some have sore joints. But there's no time to think about your health. Humanity needs to figure out how to save itself from the collision. A new gravitational order will come when the moon crashes into Earth. Continents will change their shape. They will combine into one giant piece of land or split into 100 smaller ones. The energy of the collision can burn all the oxygen in the atmosphere and make the planet unsuitable for life. Hiding underground also makes no sense because of deep earthquakes. People decide to spend their last hours with loved ones and their families. The moon is getting closer. It's now at the same distance as the International Space Station. The moon covers the sky. Many cities are in the shadows because of the waves. Tsunamis, several miles in height, crash down on the ground. Millions of tons of magma collide with the ocean. Billions of gallons of water just evaporate. Moisture rises into the air, mixes with ash, and floods the land in the form of giant cumulus clouds.
About 8 billion inhabitants of planet Earth found out the same terrible news in one day. Someone saw it on TV. Others heard it on the phone while scrolling through social media or listening to music. Some witnessed this news in a dream while sleeping. Someone's voice said it in all languages to ensure everyone understood it. I have good news and bad news for you. Let's start with the bad news. You're all characters in YouTube videos in which your planet gets into a situation where the moon breaks in half. For the audience, it will be a hypothetical story, but for you, these events will become a reality. The good news is that I was joking. There is no good news. But don't worry, the apocalypse won't start on your planet. Maybe just a little bit. Have a nice day. At first, the entire population panics. Then, a few days later, everyone calms down. Maybe it was a mass hallucination, and the moon will be all right. But at this moment, scientists have discovered the danger. A colossal meteorite is flying towards us from the distant depths of space. This meteorite is super fast and pretty flat, but has sharp edges. Fortunately, it will miss the Earth by a few thousand miles, but the moon won't be that lucky. The meteorite flies through our Earth's only natural satellite directly in the middle. So it passes through the moon, sweeps past our planet, and flies away into distant space. At this moment, all people can't take their eyes off the moon. The meteorite cuts it perfectly in half, gently, clearly, painlessly. So, what shall we do now? Will the Earth survive this? Our satellite breaks into 2 equal parts, but fortunately, they don't fly away from each other. The moon's great gravity attracts them back like a magnet. Scientists are sure that the parts will connect in a couple of billion years, and the moon will become the same as it used to be. But the coolest thing is that people won't feel any changes. Everyone around the world will celebrate this good news. The voice was wrong. But then, another problem appears. A massive meteorite in the form of a shoe is flying from the deepest space to us. It enters our solar system and approaches the Earth at high speed. The space boot crashes into one half of the moon and then flies away. Now, the moon is definitely breaking into 2 parts. The first half remains in the same place. The second one is flying towards us. A small meteor shower begins on Earth because of the falling moon fragments, but it's not so bad. Most of these rocks are burning up in the atmosphere. But almost the entire split-off half is falling apart around the orbit of our planet. it forms a stone belt. Now the Earth is like Saturn. Rotating fragments destroy part of our artificial satellites. Communication and the internet work inconsistently. It takes people a couple of years to restore a stable connection. The International Space Station no longer exists. Luckily, all the astronauts managed to return to Earth before half the moon got to them. So, moon rocks are flying around the planet, and people see half the moon in the sky. Life doesn't change much for the first few days, but those who live on the coast of the seas and oceans notice the consequences. The moon used to influence the tides. It was flying around the Earth and made oceans take an oval shape. There were tides on the side where the moon was closer. There were ebbs on the opposite side. But now, this schedule is wrong. Half of the moon attracts less water. Yes, the moon lost half its weight and began approaching the Earth. But its gravitational force has become weaker. Seabirds, many species of fish, sea turtles, and other coastal animals may not survive these changes. Their natural instincts associated with the moon help them determine the time for getting food, breeding, and flying south. For example, tiny turtles expect a strong tide in the morning. They run to the water, but the water doesn't reach them. Turtles can't hide in the ocean in time and become dinner for seagulls. Crabs can't lay eggs because the tide has started earlier than usual. Wolves go mad in the woods. They howl loudly every night and can't stop. The whole natural world can't understand what's going on. The human body is also feeling some discomfort. Many people have low and high blood pressure, and some experience severe headaches. Half of the moon changes the entire ecosystem of the planet. Adapting to new conditions will take several tens, maybe hundreds of years. A couple of weeks pass, and people notice the days are now shorter. The moon always slowed the Earth's rotation and made one day last 24 hours. The Earth is spinning faster now. The night and the morning come earlier than everyone is used to. Earth rotation speed has increased and reduced the number of hours per day to 15. People suffer from insomnia or oversleeping. The body needs time to get used to it. Work schedules are changing all over the world. Previously, people came to the office at 9 and left at 6. Now, they arrive at 7 and leave at 2 p.m. Sleep time got shorter, and people are really sad because of this. Progress slows down because the short working time. The technologies of the future are now 20 to 30 years late. Hourly pay remains the same, so bosses now pay less for fewer working hours. The whole moon stabilized the weather and climate on the planet. Look at Mars. It has 2 small moons. They quickly spin around it and rock Mars around on its axis. As a result, strong winds, sandstorms, and thunderstorms often happen on the red planet. Now the half of the moon that approached us takes the Earth out of stable rotation. This changes the seasonal temperatures in the world. It even gets hotter in hot places. And snowstorms are raging in cold regions. There are short, massive downpours instead of sunny weather. A typical breeze can grow into a hurricane and small waves into a tsunami. The seasons are changing faster now. Winters are colder and summers are hotter. Changing the rotation of the planet affects the Earth's magnetic field. Since the compass and navigation systems are unstable now, we need to recalculate where the north and south are. Birds can't fly south to wait out the winter since they don't know what direction to fly. Their inner compass is broken. Several hundred years have passed. People are entirely accustomed to the new conditions on Earth. New species of animals and fish have appeared. Birds can navigate the sky by the moon again. The planet's economy has been restored. Hourly wages have become higher. People now get enough sleep from 5 to 6 hours a day and work for 4 to 5 hours.
You're sitting in the car, waiting for the traffic light to turn green. The temperature's so high today it seems the city is about to melt. You look at the traffic light and notice it's deforming. Drops are dripping down from it. You don't believe this is really happening, so you're rubbing your eyes with your palms and you find your silver ring is slowly flowing down your finger. You scream in fear because you expect the molten metal to scorch your skin, but nothing happens. The traffic light completely drains down. You want to press the gas pedal, but there's only some kind of liquid under your feet. The seat belt unfastens itself, and the car slowly sags. You open the door, and it falls off. You run out of the car and watch it slowly melt. The wheels, the blue body, the internal details, the motor, everything turns into liquid. Only the tires, plastic things, seats, car carpets, and glass remain intact. You hear screams behind you, and you see all the other cars around are melting. You want to record it on video, but your phone has become liquid too. You take out the remaining glass screen in the plastic case. All the metals around are melting. Street lamps and bus stops turn into a homogeneous mass. Suddenly, it gets completely silent. Car horns, the noise from the highway, sirens, exhaust fumes, and engine roars. All of it has disappeared. Rivers of liquid metal are flowing down the streets, and you're in the center of this. The metal stream carries away the tires and other car details. It knocks people down. Then, a low, loud noise sounds through the city. People are running out of malls, libraries, cafes, homes, business centers. Puddles form around all houses. Every building is equipped with metal structures, rebars, and fittings. Now it's all melting and seeping through the concrete. Metals are melting slowly, so people have time to evacuate from the city. All the buildings are collapsing and raising dust in the air. Sewerage hatchways are flowing downwards. The city's sewer system is melting. Water mixed with liquid metal comes out on the streets. People are swimming in this mass. They're using hundreds of thousands of rubber tires as life buoys. Someone's even riding a surfboard. Liquid coins are flowing out of your wallet. Hundreds of ATMs around the city are melting. Millions of paper banknotes are drowning in metal flows. All the gold reserves become liquid and paint the city with an orange color. Thousands of letters float on melting mailboxes. All data centers, computers, and servers become a part of the huge metal stream. Instantly, all the digital information in the world disappears. Televisions, game consoles, amusement theme parks are melting. Radio receivers, telephones, electrical wires, cables, and internet connections disappear. Millions of tons of metal fill in the street, then pour into rivers and oceans. The water is getting a dark silver shade. In one day, people lose all modern technologies and return to the Stone Age. Metal rivers flood cities. People run to the countryside. Bicycles, motorcycles, and other forms of transportation are gone. City residents are deprived of electricity and all things that are powered by electricity. It's not safe to be in a natural area either. Metals are hidden in the mountains and underground. Now they turn into liquid and cause deformation inside the soil and stone. Some mountains are ruined, like a melting hill of ice cream. Earthquakes shake the ground all over the world. Seismic activity wakes up volcanoes. They splash out a huge amount of lava and cover the sky with ash. Volcanic magma contains a lot of molten metals, but now they don't solidify. Pools of cold lava are formed around volcanoes. People learn to live anew in such conditions. They build houses out of plastic and wood, using ropes and glue to connect the materials. You can now easily start a fire with wood and stone. People burn glass to make it stronger. They make axes and other tools from high-strength glass and stone. But such items quickly deteriorate and break. You learn how to build dugouts. You drip the soil and use wooden boards to support the ceilings and walls. Almost the entire population of the planet lives underground, since it helps keep warm during winter. But it's not possible to live like this for a long time because of frequent earthquakes. Wooden chariots appear on the roads again. Problems with the harvest begin. Metals seep into the soil, and this disrupts the growth of the crops. Many people live near the ocean. During earthquakes, they get on wooden rafts or inflatable boats and sail away from the shore. To travel long distances, people fly in balloons. You can even get to a neighboring city if the wind doesn't take you away. It's impossible to send a letter to another country since there's no more railways. People make long walking journeys and live like nomads. You use pigeon mail to communicate with friends living in the neighboring city. It's difficult to get food and live in winter without electricity. But there is hope. Scientists can't find out the reason for the change of metals without technical equipment, but they put forward the theory that metals have changed at the molecular level. The molecules moved away from each other, and this caused melting. To bring everything back, you need to connect the metal molecules closer to each other, and people need an electric current for this. Fortunately, there's enough of it in the sky. Every day, lightning flashes somewhere. You just need to catch it. Scientists create plastic containers and fill them with liquid metal. All containers are connected by a rubber wire with molten copper inside. Copper is one of the best conductive metals. On a huge field, people place hundreds of such containers. Clouds are gathering. A strong storm begins. The lightning strikes the ground several times and finally hits the container. It comes through a copper wire and distributes the charge to all other tanks. A chain reaction begins. When the storm ends, people discover containers with solid metal. It worked! Now we have a couple of tons of ordinary metals. Scientists send mail pigeons to spread the news. Soon, people around the world are trying to catch the lightning.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.